Hey, I'm getting pussy. Got a cat down here. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to Beer Analysis 101 with Maxwell Star live on the 10th here over at Chris's place. And he's on the other side of the room, and that's where I'm pointing. And tonight we've got a special Beer Analysis 101 because this was completely improvised. We're going to take a look at an ice beer for Andrew Watts. Looking at Laker Ice, 5.5% ABV. First and foremost, let's introduce all the other members of the panel. First off, we've got my host for this one. This is Chris Lizak Photography, or On the 10th Beer Reviews. How are you doing tonight? Can anybody hear Chris?
I can only hear him when you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I can't hear you. We can't hear you, Chris.
Oh, this is so unprofessional.
Oh, man, this is unprofessional. We're already going downhill with the technical issues.
Oh, God. God, the comments from Joe. Oh, Jesus.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Good. Yes, I'm here with Nick. He's on the 10th. Ella is being loud behind me. Vader's being silent beside her. Ella and Vader are the two elevators on the 10th. Thank you.
Ella and Vader. Light side and the dark side. Oh, the light side seems to be the one that's going to fail first because the brakes are fucked on it. Anyway, the next up, we've got someone who I'm very thankful is wearing a shirt tonight. Hey, Greg, how are you doing tonight? Just saw you last night. What you up to?
Well, I'm about to ingest this wonderful beverage. As you know, I've been rather ill and haven't drank much beer lately, and this wonderful, wonderful elixir is going to bring me back to the beer fold, and I'm incredibly excited, if you can't tell. I'm coming to you live from the balcony of, well, the 5th, I suppose. Technically the 6th, since the first level is double layers, but who's counting?
On the 5th.
So you guys might hear some Fast and the Furious action. That's all part of the fun of it, and I'll let you know who's winning. Is it Vin Diesel or Paul Walker?
Okay, and of course, last but certainly not least, we've got Ash Sexton on with us tonight. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Glad to have you in this beautiful province of ours and tasting this absolutely magnificent Ontario product. So, welcome to Ontario.
The first thing we grab, Laker Ice, as soon as we're in the province. Jeez.
Welcome to the province.
Yeah, this is the first time we've actually done an all Ontario Beer Analysis 101. Because usually it's like me and then everybody else.
Why are we doing this to ourselves?
I don't know. Self-inflicted. Anyway, moving along, let's go over to the history of Laker Ice. Laker Ice. I've got a cat right here. Oh, yeah, we might as well.
Nick, you got a tail.
Let me do the history first. All right, so Laker Ice. So Brick Brewing Co. was founded by Jim Brickman in 1984 in Waterloo, Ontario, and is considered, tongue-in-cheek, the oldest craft brewery in Ontario. The first cases of beer rolled off the bottling line on December 18th, 1984. In 1992, Brick became the only brewery remaining in the Waterloo region after Lopat closed its plant. By 1997, Brick Brewing Co. purchased the former Formosus Brewery in Formosa, Ontario, operating the 1870-built brewery constructed by early German settlers as a second brewery. That's where they get their 150 years of brewing experience, BS. In 2004, Brick introduced the Laker lineup of beers. The Laker lineup consisted solely of budget beers and sold them for $1 a beer. Like that jingle that Greg was talking about before we went live.
Maker, Laker, it's $1 a beer. Used to be $1 a beer before the goddamn government made them charge us more money for it.
Yeah, literally. They even said that it was a 6-pack was $6, 12-pack $12, 24 for $24. That sounds actually quite awesome. This was successful at first, and by 2005, Brick had sold 2.5 million cases of beer, and I think that was an annual number. However, by 2008, the company had fallen on poorer fortunes, and Brick was threatened by being delisted from the Toronto Stock Exchange. New CEO George Croft was brought in and began turning the company around, renewing the brewery's focus on their Waterloo series of craft beers. This turned out to be successful, and in 2009, Brick installed their own canning line and expanded into Western Atlantic Canada in 2010, although I will say I can't get this shit at home. I need every once in a while. In 2015, Brick began moving equipment to their Waterloo brewery and from their Waterloo brewery into nearby Kitchener to the site of a $9 million brew house, which opened in 2016. Subsequently, they closed and sold off the whole Formosa brewery as well as the line of Formosa Springs products in 2017. Brick Brewing is perhaps better known to craft beer fans for their Waterloo line of beers, which includes Waterloo Dark, Waterloo Amber, their traditional IPA, Pilsner, Waterloo Grapefruit Radler. They also make several beers under the Laker line name, such as Laker Lager, Laker Light IPA, Laker Red 5.5, Laker Ice, and Laker Extreme Ice 7.5. And I couldn't find the Extreme Ice when I was there, but that scares me. I almost want to try it just because it scares me. So moving right along, Brick also brews Landshark under contract for the Canadian market, which I actually get at home. And Laker Ice is Laker Ice itself is a 5.5% American adjunct style lager, brewed with special ice filtering process to supposedly make a smooth finishing, easy drinking beer with higher alcohol strength. Fun, fun, fun. All right, so let's go over to comments while we've got some. And we actually had a slew of them. Let's see. Can't get Greg to read them, so let me see if I can totally do this.
You can't get me to read them.
And Chris can't read them because he'll echo.
I can read them if you want.
It's Ash. If you want to read the comments, go right ahead.
Sure, why not? So we got Lee right at the beginning. Oh yeah, don't even let me get a chance to get it. He's unsubbed. Telling him to settle down. Ethan's beer review. You guys chatting tonight, or did I miss it? Well, you're right in the middle of it right now. So let's see here. Greg seems to think that we're drinking Laner Ice and that everyone should join us. I'm not too sure about that.
Laner Ice.
Ethan is drinking KBS. I hope that is very tasty, and that he's sorry that we're drinking Laner Ice. Ethan was getting a little upset that we weren't starting on time, but that's on you. Just settle down. Let's see what else we got going on. Ethan saying you can only get Laker Lager. It's not a bad thing you're missing this. Lee's chiming in. Ice Beer Dude is going to be pissed. You didn't tell him ahead of time. Yes. Yes, he is.
Wants to replay. Yeah.
He's going to be pissed when he sees this.
He's wondering what the beer is next week.
Raining on Your Parade says, yo, Lee, have you had this one? Does not too good from here. I've not seen this one, I believe. Well, probably in a good spot if you haven't seen this one. Lee's not drinking right now. Lee hasn't seen this either. Earth. Hello, Earth. I can tell this is going to be one hell of a shit show. You are probably 110% correct, my friend. And Chris is agreeing with him. That's what we got.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. So let's get into histories with this, and we'll start with Chris. I will now mute myself so you can talk. History.
This is the first time I've ever having this. I'm not a fan of ice beers. I've had ice beers before. Actually, the last ice beer I did was Boxer Ice, and I did it on my channel a while ago, and it wasn't bad. That was a lot better than this one. We'll talk about that later. But, yeah, so no history on this beer. So that's what I got.
Right on. Now, Greg, what's your history with Laker Ice?
Well, my fascinating history began in 1983 when I first had my. I've never had this before. I don't even know what Laker beers I have. Actually, I take that back. I may have had this before because there was a day where I would just drink cheap beers because that's usually all my dad would buy. And that's all I would drink. So I had Laker and Lakeport products. I don't remember if I ever had this or not. And I don't even. What else have I had? I've had Labatt Maximum Ice. That might be it for ice beers. Is that Earthquake beer? Is that an ice beer? Or Chad sent me that shit. Everyone's muted, so nobody can answer.
That sounds like a nightmare to me, man.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it was pretty awful. Chad sent that to me. Anyway, so I may have had a few ice beers here and there, but I'm not particularly experienced with them. So I probably couldn't even tell you if this is a good one or not. So I'm very qualified to be here.
That's fine, and we're all about as equally qualified. And Ash, what's your experience with Laker Ice? Do you have any?
Laker Ice, nothing. Much like Greg, I've had Laker, like their regular lager, probably when I was buying the Lakeport Pilsner, like just when I was in a phase when I was buying like cheap beer, I was drinking this like Laker lager, but I've never had the ice. And I'm very intrigued as to what the fucking, what is an ice beer? I would love to understand as a home brewer who brews faithfully at home, what the process is that makes this an ice beer. Because
in the sense that they use here, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but they explain it as ice filtering, like the filter system they use is a chill filter kind of thing going on, where it cools the pipes that it goes through, so that it starts to freeze, and then they siphon some of that stuff off, some of the ice off, and of course, one of the water in the beer freezes first, so what's left is a more concentrated alcohol, and it's supposed to be smoother, and but in practice, I find I'm not sure if it's exactly what the same with what they do with like an Eisbock in Germany, but it's I believe inspired by that. Not that we should give it credit for that.
Suppose go to a few more comments before I guess we jump on the tasting.
Yeah, I need to get my history.
No, I'm sorry.
Not that I really have history with Laker Ice. This is the first time I'm having it too.
This is the worst Jay Terrio fucking thing I've ever heard. I swear to God.
Shut up.
I'm just kidding.
Jerk.
Echo.
Jay Terrio's fucking chat. Lee's gonna hate me now. Anyway, and I know that PA Brew News in the chat already hates me. So, moving along to my history. I mean, I've had a few ice beers before. There's like some Molson. I think Molson Cold Shots is like an ice beer, isn't it? I know that I've had like Moose Dry Ice. I can't remember. It's been so long since I gave a shit about ice beers, so I can't remember all the ones that I've actually had. I know I've had Moose Dry Ice and something else, but it's not something exactly that I would run for. I mean, technically, if you want to say ice beers, I've had Schneider Aventina's Eisbock, which is fantastic and strong, but that was a long time ago. As far as Laker goes, the only Laker product I've had is Laker IPA, because Guy bought a 24 2-4 pack and brought it to Chad's Fest there in 2016 to fucking troll us. Or was it 2016? No, it was 2015. He brought it. It was 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was the second Albino Rhino Beer
Fest, and we had a shit ton of Laker, and I think he ended up taking a lot of it home.
Well, and they're all room temperature too.
Oh God. I remember reviewing it.
And that I believe is probably one of their better beers too. So I mean, yeah.
Anyway, all right. So now we've gone through that. Let's take a look at some more of the comments. And Ash, you're doing a great job. So I'll let you do.
Okay.
And have fun reading these. I see what's going on in the chat.
Thank you. All right, Paul from PA Brew News joined in. He's like, another helping of Canada's finest Macraft beer. Macraft. I'm with you, buddy. Welcome to Gum City, which is exactly where I'm residing right now. Rating on your parade. So, Chris, have you switched from Coors Light to Pabst yet? Being the hipster that you are, apparently. I don't know.
Have you?
Are you wearing tight pants?
No, he's shaking his head no.
Hey, Pabst is a far superior product.
All right. And Paul from PA Brew News is like, if you've ever had a domestic violence case against you, you've probably had this beer. Because that's where.
Yep, that's probably true. Yeah.
Yep, I would agree with that. And geez, I live in Welland. I haven't had this. What the hell's going on? So Paul's like, it's an ice beer when they buy ice in the title of a rebranded shit lager. It's not true. It's continuing. It's definitely not a true ice beer.
James Ready Ice. That's the other one I've had. Sorry. Go ahead.
What was that?
James Ready Ice.
James Ready. Okay, I've had James Ready. Lee saying, already hated all of this 20 minutes ago. Well, you're still here, Lee. So again, thanks. Earth's like laughing at him. Yep. Paul was like, Lee Russell taking sense here, people. And no raining on your parade. Too expensive here in Canada. That's from Chris. And Lee is, where's Chad? Not keen to hang with the people he's shit on for a year? I don't know.
Anyway.
Maybe I should have read that first.
That's fired. Yeah.
Pabst cheaper than Coors Light in Canada? I always thought it was.
Is Pabst cheaper than? No, it's not. All right. I know it's pretty cheap at home. It's probably around the same price.
It's only $2 like a tall boy here, I think. So
it's
I don't know. It's
$22 for a 12-pack of it in New Brunswick.
Oh, hey, that was an El Camino.
It's not as cheap per can as Laker Ice is, which was $2. That was nice.
Well, that's a bargain right there.
Pay that much for it. So now we've read the comments. Sorry, go ahead. Finish what you're saying, Greg.
Oh, no, I was going to say that was why at the beer store I'll often see guys who look like they have no fixed address paying an exact change for their as many cans of Laker products as they can get with this exact change they have.
It's the truth. They usually come up with exact change. They're buying quantities, whether it's 7, 8, 9, or whatever. They know exactly how much to give.
What you're saying is that Laker Ice to Ontario is what Fax 10 is to back home. Anybody who wants to get drunk, they just buy like 5 cans of Fax 10 and they're fucked off their ass, no matter how tall they are.
This won't kill you quite as fast as Fax 10 will, but
I'll mute myself.
This beer is terrible.
All right, just want to make sure they get that point across. And speaking of which, let's go into final thoughts. What's your final thoughts, Chris?
Well, I like this beer. No, I don't. I'm not a fan of this beer. This tastes like corn. No head left on that. Now it's gone flat. This is not a good beer at all. This is something I will never drink again. So I'm just going to give you my ratings right now. In style, I'm going to give this a 5, I guess, out of 10. And personal enjoyment is getting a 2 from me because it's terrible. And I know you guys are like, oh, well, you drink Coors Light. But you know what? This is fucking disgusting. This is not good on my palate. This is making me want to punch myself in the face. And I guess that's where all the domestics come in. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Not a fan. Thank you.
All right, so moving right along to Greg. What's your final thoughts on this beer?
Well, sorry, pardon the rice rocket back there. Well, you know what? This beer is, because we took so damn long to get on, this beer is just pretty close to room temperature, just slightly below room temperature.
Yeah.
He has his thoughts too. Sorry, he has to get all 130 horsepower out of his system. So this is basically room temperature, not where it's meant to be drank. And you know what? For what it is, it's better than Molson Canadian. It really is. Like, so I give it credit for that. That being said, it's not much better. So I'm going to give this, I think I gave Molson Canadian a 3 out of 10. And I think I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 10 for my personal enjoyment. In terms of style, I'm really not qualified to give it a rating based on style. However, the one other ice beer I am familiar with is Labatt Maximum Ice because my father-in-law loves that beer. And honestly, it's not a terrible beer. I think it's actually okay for what it is for a 7% macro beer. So based on that, if I give that a style rating, I guess I'd give that higher. So I guess I'll give this a 5 and just say this is, I don't know, mediocre for the style that I'm not familiar with. So yeah, a 5 and a 3.5. Let's go with that.
All right. All right, move over to Mr. Ash. What did you think about this crap?
I don't even know. But, okay, so what I do love is that everyone poured this shit into a glass. Just drink this shit like it's intended, man. Right?
I know Stout's glass.
So,
which admittedly would probably be better that way.
You know what? It's okay. So first off, it's bad. It's a bad beer. I will never buy it again. I would never recommend anyone ever buy it. If I'm looking for any sort of redeeming qualities from it, after I drink it, I'm not getting any sort of lingering sweetness on the back. It finishes relatively clean. I'm not left with a fucking reminder that I'm just drinking shitty beer. It just goes down and then it's done. You know what I mean? So aside from that, though, if I didn't think about what I was drinking, if I was really on a mission to get really drunk, and if I were to drink it really fast, it's not the worst thing in the world. I would probably drink it before I drank a Canadian, like Greg, alluded to. But that's not really saying much. So, and yeah, I don't think I've ever had any other iced beers before in the world. So, to compare it to anything else, I don't really have a comparative chart. So, personal enjoyment 3, style. Fuck, I'm just gonna shoot a dart at the dartboard. I'm gonna say it's a 4.5 out of 10 for style.
4.5 out of 10. That's 4. So 4.5 for style, 3.0. Are you doing scores?
Yeah, I'm doing scores.
All right, he's still doing scores.
What was Ash's overall?
Overall, you said 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so move along into my opinions with this thing here. Is just that when it comes to other ice beers I've had, I remember I've had the Blue Ice. Didn't we do that? Yeah, we had Blue Ice 5.5 or some shit here or at Chad's place last year at the bottle share, but we didn't do a review of it.
Boxer ice.
No, I never had the Boxer Ice, but I remember having the Blue Ice, and I've also had that Blue Dry 10.10. But anyway, going right along into this kind of thing is that I noticed off the top of this one, I'm getting a very strong yeasty breadiness to this, and it's kind of somewhat off-putting and sickly in the throat. But at the same time, it's got this slight... Jesus Christ! Somebody steal your car, Greg?
No, that was a Harley.
That was a Harley.
That's quite a bit louder than a Camaro.
Well, there's so yeasty, bready, and sweetness, and it's also got that boiled green beans kind of sweetness to it in the back. The biggest thing I got to say for this is, at least for an ice beer, it's not harsh tasting. It's actually quite smooth and goes down easy, but it tastes like shit, but at least it's smooth and easy to drink, which I can see that there is an alluring quality to that. For the style, if the style is something called American Adjunct Lager that's ice filtered, then this actually does do what it says it meant to do. That said, it's a shit style. So, but for style, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for the style. But as far as personal enjoyment goes, the only redeeming quality of this is that drinking it cold, it's actually smooth and kind of crisp. At the same time, it tastes like fucking garbage. So I'm going to give it 4 to 10 for over. I don't hate it so much, is that I'm not overly enjoying this. I can see why somebody with, maybe not as advanced taste in beer, doesn't drink a lot of craft beer, just likes a nice, clean, easy drinking lager that's stronger than average, might love this kind of thing. But I'm not one of them. So that's my opinion. Anyway, I just have this overwhelming feeling that this is kind of like what drinking paint tastes like. Like literally, just like drinking can. Anyway, home improvement store. We were over at Chad's and he was painting. So, all right. So moving right along, do we have any more comments here before Chris comes back to us with the scores?
Yeah, actually, Earth made a good point. He was like, it looks like they decided, fuck this to the color grabbing advertisement on the can. Because, yeah, this is just straight black and gray. It's very nondescript. It's almost like it's ashamed of being what it is. It's like, nah, we're not going to really advertise this, but we're going to put it out there. So, and aside from that, yeah, nothing much else.
And Jamie, I see there saying, I'm having a ransack the universe right now.
Oh, good for you.
Good for you, son. Alrighty. So was that everything?
Yeah, that's everything.
Just Greg, different sheet. Just jotting all the ones you skipped. All right. So moving right along. Basement Beer says, pretty sure it's an ice beer, not 100% though. No, Ransack's not an ice beer. Anyway, yeah. If you really like ice beers, you might enjoy this one maybe a bit more than some of the other ones that are in the pack because it's not harsh finish. It doesn't have like a big strong alcohol taste. It's smooth and easy to drink and somewhat crisp. But that said, warmed up, or if you don't really like the taste of big bready yeasty shit, then you're probably not going to like this. So that's just my fucking opinion on Laker Ice.
I got some scores.
Oh, Chris has scores. I will turn this over to you as soon as I hit my mute button.
Since we're totally professional today and not making fun of anybody unprofessional on there when they're doing their own examinations, I don't have any fancy slideshows for you today.
You can always draw a picture of the beer.
I could.
Or you know what, you can just hold the can up in front of a white piece of paper.
Or just show what's on my free cans.
This is what we gave the score here.
Oh,
That's what we got.
wow.
All right. So actually, no. Our actual scores for this beer in style, we're looking at a 5.37 for style, and overall enjoyment, we all loved it at a 3.12. So that's what we got, ladies and gentlemen.
How did we get a 5.3 for style?
Because Nick boosted it to fucking 7.
I offset it, didn't I? Sorry.
Yeah, way to fuck that one up.
Yeah, when it came for style, two people gave it 5. One person gave it a 4.5, and I gave it a 7. So that really chucked the numbers up when I gave it a 7. I'm sorry. I was thinking, like, if it's a shitty ice beer, it's less shitty than the other shitty beers, so it's kind of good for the style, but it's not good for beer. It said I don't hate it as much as maybe some other people do. But anyway, comments there. People saying that we suck and that this.
Honestly, you know,
no, I don't. No, not at all. But Earth did say black ice. I've seen that one around. That always ends badly. So that is
honestly, this is one of those beers where even though it's a really bad beer, I don't think any of us enjoy it. It's not a beer that's so bad that I hate it. It's just kind of like I would not want to drink it again, and if I ever have to drink it again, I'd want it to be much colder than it is right now.
Ice cold.
Exactly.
But it's not a beer where I'm just like, if you like, Chad sent me some beers a couple years ago that I just wanted to punch him in the head for. And if
Greg,
Chad,
why don't you put some ice cubes in it then?
Well, I've got this much left, so at this point I may just suck it up.
It is
Excuses.
Bottoms up, motherfuckers.
I just crushed that shit.
I'm gonna take my time with it.
It is pretty clean for what it is.
If somebody's looking for just a stronger than average beer to just drain. Now, one thing I will say though is, as far as like some of the other ice beers I've had, that's probably the weakest one, like 5.5, because like James Ready and Moose Ice, Dry Ice are both 6% or 6% beers. Actually, I think Moose Dry Ice is even stronger. Chad might be, or sorry, Lee and Chad. He might know because he gets that stuff regularly.
Yeah, Maximum Ice is 7 or 7.5%, I think. So
see, that's a beer I'd love to try at some point, and I think they even have it up here in some places. But that's one I'd like to try just for the Michael Ironside that they used to have in the 90s.
As far as I'm concerned, I think for what that is, I think it's an okay beer. I don't think you're gonna be blown away by it, but I think you'll enjoy it more than this one. Uh-oh. Is Nick dead?
I think Nick died. No, no,
Oh,
he's on the hot tub.
Sorry. But does anybody remember the old Michael Ironside commercials from Maximum Ice where they had Mike, he was looking like he's the fucking Highlander or something? He's about to experience the quickening, and he's just introducing Maximum Ice. It's a good beer or some shit.
I don't think I'm old enough to remember that advertisement.
Shit. I'm just dating myself here, aren't I? I have to find the commercial. All right, that's definitely a different topic, but we can talk about that on any kind of after thingy we decide to do after this. But does anybody have any final thoughts about this or any final comments?
Yeah, it's a whale.
My brain is thirsty.
What was that?
I think my drain is thirsty for this beer right now. I think that's what's going to happen.
Oh, just do it.
My thoughts are, if you really, really need to get drunk this bad, I suppose it's an okay option, but you may just want to spring for a really cheap bottle of vodka and mix it with something.
Yeah, right. Put the vodka in this.
Yeah, probably better value, but I don't know. Really, that's all there really is to this beer. Is if you want to get drunk on something cheap, then I guess it does the job. Probably for that purpose, Fax 10% does a better job, even though it's worse than this. But
yeah, Fax 10% is really much sweeter, but at the same time, it's
Fax 10% is
10%.
gross. But if you want to just chug 2 cans of it, you'll get yourself completely shit faced.
And
if that's your goal, then
I wouldn't even call Fax 10 gross. It's just, it is a sweeter beer, but I wouldn't call it like nasty. It's just a strong ass beer that will fuck you. Like can up asshole kind of fuck with if you drink too many of them.
Like Nick looks like he's about to tear up. Like this happened to him in the locker room a bunch of times.
Yeah. High school, man. Anyway, yeah, moving right along. Let's kill this one. Let's decide, and maybe we'll do something after this. That's the case.
Oh my God, Nick! What's next week's beer?
What's next week's beer is 7-Eleven Slurpees.
Yay! Are there taquitos?
No, there's taquitos. Yes, there's going to be blended in with the Slurpee. I have no idea, and I'm not really thinking about it right at this very second. We'll come up with something before then. Maybe it'll be something I'll bring back in the suitcase, but we'll post it somewhere. Anybody wants to check me out on Facebook, go on Facebook and look up Maxwell Star's beer reviews. And if I decide that I have time to do something about it between now and next Wednesday, I'll post what next week's beer is, or maybe look at Lee's channel. He'll do a Macho Man thing if he really wants to associate himself.
I'm also gonna. I don't want to speak for Nick, but I might suggest it could possibly be something from Ontario.
I would think that's probably a good idea. Yeah. I did buy a bottle of Cafe Del Bastardo.
Oh, sweet. We'll talk about it.
All right, cool. All right, we'll discuss that later. Well, I'm pretty sure there's quite a few of them left here, and
Greg.
But we'll talk about that later. Let's wrap it up and stick it out and pull out, and I don't know where I'm going with this. So let's kill this, and this is all your fault, viewer. I just want to say that because I see the last comment in there, and we'll talk to you folks later. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for watching.
Bye.
Penis.